Mississippi. Sorry, so Mississippi is located within the four deep South states. So we obviously have Louisiana on the call too, but I just wanted to kind of go over where that we're connected via flights and how easy it is to get around. So Mississippi is located in the middle of Tennessee, Louisiana, and Alabama. So we pretty much on every single road trip or escorted tour that your clients are going to be doing around our region. And we obviously have great connectivity from our friends at Delta into Atlanta, from Dublin, which makes a really good where if you have sort of a 2-3 week itinerary to kind of explore into Alabama, Tennessee, and then lots of Mississippi. And then we obviously have our friends at Aer Lingus that will fly directly into Nashville. The nearest entry point that we would kind of say to get into Mississippi from Nashville is Tupelo, and it's just a 3-hour drive. So I'm going to speak more about Tupelo at the end of my presentation, and I'm going to speak about Mississippi as if you were kind of doing a driving tour from Tennessee down to Louisiana, just to give you an idea of what there is to do. We don't have any direct flights, but our friends at Delta do connect through Atlanta into Jackson, which is our capital city, and Gulfport, which is on the beach. So if you have clients that are wanting to do some coastal or a beach holiday, it's perfect. And then it's very easy to get to New Orleans from there too. So some top tips for selling Mississippi. So we are the birthplace of America's music, the birthplace of Elvis Presley, and live music can be heard all over the state. So no matter where you are, you're going to be immersed yourself into some blues. We have lots of rock and roll, but it is where it all started. Loads of museums celebrating all of our musical legends, and I'll speak about some of them as we go through. It takes just 6 hours to drive from the top to the bottom. So you really can fill your itineraries up with lots of things to do without having to overnight in every single place. Some places are just half an hour away or an hour from each other. So you could get a good 2-3 nights on your drives in between our partnering states and still experience a lot. So I think it's a real selling point for us. Just 15 minutes outside of Memphis, you'll be in Mississippi as well. So again, for clients that are doing the Nashville, Memphis, New Orleans, it definitely is one that you want to pop us in the middle just to fill in some of that real blues history for sure. As I mentioned briefly, we obviously have our Gulf Coast, so we've got beaches, and just 45 minutes outside of New Orleans, you can be on one of our beaches. Southern hospitality you will find throughout any of our states. I will obviously say ours is the best, but I'm sure Neil will disagree. Delicious food, everything from Gulf Coast shrimp, fresh oysters. 80% of the country's oysters are actually farmed on our shores, so they are superb. And if you don't like them raw, they're just as delicious baked. Loads of history, so civil rights, civil war. And we are home to the only Grammy Museum outside of Los Angeles, which is located in Cleveland. So first on our drive through, embracing that musical journey is going to be Clarksdale. So Clarksdale, you can hear live blues music 365 days of the year in clubs and juke joints. So juke joints is an old blues bar. They are very authentic, still the same structures that they were years and years ago. So just embrace the music while you're in there. We have multiple blues festivals. Clarksdale is a really special place. It's edgy, it's gritty. It's not like anywhere you'll ever see. You'll turn up in the day and think, wow, it's really quiet here. And then at night, it just comes alive with all the most authentic blues music you're going to hear. People travel all around the world to kind of find out why this tiny little Delta town influenced people like the Beatles, the Rolling Stones. It's a very special place. It's also home to Ground Zero, which is our famous blues club owned by Morgan Freeman. So we have two actually located in Mississippi. The main one is in Clarksdale, and then there is another one that's just opened on the coast. We have a great museum, the Delta Blues Museum, where you can really kind of tap into that musical history. You can get on the Mississippi if you wanted to do one of our canoe tours here. Obviously, weather dependent, it's a strong current. Great choice of hotels and unique lodging options. So we have everything from bed and breakfasts to apartments, that sort of thing. They're all available with most receptives. And it is the location of the famous crossroads, which is where Robert Johnson sold his soul to the devil. So we've just had a new blues marker put there to celebrate that. But yeah, Clarksdale is definitely one to stop at if you have any clients that are really, really interested in blues music. It's just an hour and a half from Memphis down Blues Highway, which is Highway 61. So even if you have clients staying in Memphis and they may not have time to overnight, please do tell them to get an Uber or drive down to Clarksdale because it is a once in a lifetime experience for sure. About 3 hours is if we're coming down Vicksburg, which I know is on a lot of your itineraries. It's just 45 minutes outside of Jackson. So Jackson is our capital city, and most international travelers are either going to stay in one or the other because they're so close together. I would say Vicksburg is definitely one to do. It's going to give them that river location. It's going to give them the old historic houses that you can stay in. And Chuka is a really great one that we have. It's also home to the Vicksburg National Military Park, which is the site of the American Civil War Battle of Vicksburg. So, any history buffs absolutely love this park. You can do it as a self-drive or a guided tour. If you drove without stopping around the park, it's going to take about half an hour. But most people will allow 2 to 3 hours to explore all the artwork. And the artwork is valued at millions and millions of dollars. So it's beautiful. The one you can see in that picture, you can actually go up the steps, and sketched into the wall is the names of everyone that fought in the Civil War battle. And I think that's Ohio's statue, if I can remember correctly. But Vicksburg has a great downtown area, really walkable, great shops, boutiques. You can grab a daiquiri and explore and sit and look at the beautiful murals, watch the sunset on the river. We have a great Coca-Cola museum. So Coca-Cola was first bottled in Vicksburg in 1894. So you can see the original distillery and learn all about that experience. And as I said, great accommodation choices here. 2 hours down the river, so heading towards New Orleans now, we have Natchez. Natchez, I'm sure most of you would have spoken about. It's definitely one of my favorites. Here you're going to have a true taste of Southern hospitality. So we have over 300 years of fascinating history, and it is actually the gateway to the Natchez Trace Parkway. So the Natchez Trace Parkway is the number 4 visited scenic byway in the whole of the state, and it runs 444 miles from Natchez, Mississippi, all the way to Nashville. So if you have any clients that aren't really wanting to drive on busy highways or freeways, or and wanted a bit more of a slower pace, kind of stop on the sides, have picnics, that sort of thing, definitely recommend doing the Natchez Trace. You can jump on it in certain locations as well, so it's not like you have to do the whole thing. A lot of people cycle it too. Natchez is also home to the largest collection of pre-Civil War homes. Cotton was king, making Natchez the home of more millionaires per capita than any other city in America pre-Civil War. And most of these homes are still there today that you can go and explore. Some are actually lived in, and then for 6 weeks of the year, they have to vacate and allow visitors to come and have a little nosy around. But they're brilliant. They have a great hop-on, hop-off bus tour that explores a lot of the historic houses and just kind of gives you a real feel. Natchez is like going back in time. It's kind of cobbled streets, really slow paced, great restaurants, great people, some live music venues. A lot of the old historic buildings have been turned into restaurants. So there's an old historic bank that's turned into a restaurant. And we have 2 of our historic houses, Monmouth and Dunleith, which will pull through receptives and are really great properties that clients love to stay in. And one exciting thing that happened last August was the new Mardi Gras line. So the Amtrak restarted again, which will run from New Orleans to Mobile, Alabama, and has 4 stops in Mississippi. It runs twice daily in each direction, and tickets are from like $15. So if you have clients that don't want to drive, it's such a good option. Actually, to be fair, Mississippi is quite easy accessible through the Amtrak. We have 2 stops in Greenwood, which is in the Delta, and Jackson, our capital city, which is on the Memphis New Orleans line. So very well suited for clients that don't want to drive. These are the stops that we have. So Bay St. Louis, Gulfport, Biloxi, and Pascagoula. 2 of the ones I'm going to point out, Bay St. Louis gives very much Key West vibes. It's a very slow pace of life. People don't really drive. It's all golf buggies, loads of unique shops, antique shops, galleries. Most of the businesses are owned by women, over 80%, which I think is quite a cool fact. Great for golf, charter fishing as well. It's just a really cool vibe here. And then Biloxi is going to offer some of our casinos. So a little bit more fun can be had on the coast. Great choice of accommodation. This is where you're going to find some of our Hilton properties, Hard Rock properties, our Beau Rivage, which is an MGM property. But here you can go oyster farming, shrimping excursions. You can learn all about sort of our maritime. We can also hire boats and go out to some of our private islands that we have to spend the day there and come back. So it's a great option. We're lucky that we have the coast. More and more travelers are experiencing it as well, which is good. And then we'll just quickly go on to Tupelo. I think I've got about 5 minutes left, so that will be perfect. So Tupelo is in the northern part of Mississippi, so about an hour and a half from Memphis and 3 hours from Nashville. And this is the birthplace of Elvis. If you were doing it on a stop, say Nashville to New Orleans, you could easily just stop in Tupelo if you wanted to, and it'd be about 5 hours then on to New Orleans. It's the homeland of the Chickasaw Nation as well, which is really exciting because we are getting a new Chickasaw Heritage Centre opening in March 2027, which I'll speak about shortly. But we have over 200 restaurants as well, so great for any foodies and some great hotel choices. So yeah, I was talking about the Natchez Trace Parkway earlier. So Tupelo is the headquarters of the Natchez Trace Parkway, and it's the country's fourth most visited national park. It's significant to Tupelo, Mississippi, as it's very historical cultural corridor, and it connects the Natchez, Chickasaw, and Choctaw nations. So more will be sent on that as soon as we have the information. We have broken ground and building the Heritage Centre, but it's a really exciting opportunity for us to showcase this and also something different because everyone knows us just for being the birthplace of Elvis. Also next year in 2027, it will be the 50th anniversary of Elvis's passing. So there will be month-long celebrations around Gracelands and Tupelo to celebrate that anniversary. Talking of Elvis, these are all the things that you can do in Tupelo that are Elvis. So you can visit Elvis Presley's birthplace and the museum. So this is a tour that you can do. There's different parts on it. You can visit the house that he lived in. You can visit the church he learned to sing in, the museum. So this is a great stop for any clients that are coming to Tupelo. You can do an Elvis Tupelo driving tour, which will literally drive around the whole of Tupelo and go to any significant place that Elvis either liked, grew up at, and or there's information. You can also cycle. As you'll probably guess, you can pretty much do any of these tours on any mode of transport. We've covered all bases. There is an Elvis Tupelo murals tour, which you could do. The Shook Up experience is a cocktail tour, so you can go around and have a look at that. We have a foodie tour where you can go and see different places that he loved. One of them was Johnny's Barbecue, which you can go in and get a dough burger, which is a famous burger that he used to eat, sit in the booth that he sat in. We have a guitar trail, and then every year we have an Elvis festival, which is in June. So Memphis, Graceland have theirs in August, and we have ours in June. So if you have any travelers that are coming through, that is one to note. Great hotel options right in downtown. We have loads of hotels. The two I would recommend are the Hotel Tupelo. It's a great boutique hotel right in downtown. And then you have the Hilton Garden Inn in Tupelo, which is just opposite. Really, really great value for money. And once you leave your car there, you can just walk around and explore downtown, which is going to offer great shops, restaurants, that sort of thing. We also have Civil War trails. So if you have clients interested in history, and also I can send any information on any of our trails. So Civil War Trail, Civil Rights Trail, and that is pretty much everything in a nutshell. I think I was just about on time. So if there's anything else, any questions, pop them in the box and I will pass over to Neil.
Thanks, Hannah. Yeah, we'll just pass over to Neil, who's going to bring us through Louisiana and New Orleans.
Yeah, there we go. So camera is on. Give me 2 seconds. I am navigating a new laptop, which works slightly differently to my previous. So bear with me. Cool. So hopefully you can see my screen. So what we're going to do, we'll work our way through Louisiana, and then we'll do a little bit more of a detailed sort of chat around New Orleans at the end of it. But so Louisiana is probably quite unique, really, and as far as the United States is concerned, but probably globally, really, because of the different nationalities and cultures that have called the state of Louisiana home, have inhabited it. Therefore, they've influenced the food, they've influenced the music, and really it all comes back down to what we would call is the Louisiana way of life. So it's a lifestyle thing. We are certainly famous for celebrating Mardi Gras, which is a fundamental and really important part of the history and the culture of Louisiana. But when I tell you that's one of over 400 festivals that we celebrate a year, I think we're actually north of 450 festivals a year. But there's more festivals than there are days. So therefore, you've got to pick wisely, but also travel at any time of year, knowing full well that you will get to experience that true Louisianan experience of a festival, which, let's say, includes food, music, dancing, and occasionally a drop or two of alcohol along the way as well. We might have a couple of cocktails in there as well. Moving my slides, right. So Hannah already ran over this map with you, but really just further to reiterate on this, obviously Hannah mentioned there at the end the Amtrak rail service. So we are quite blessed, certainly in the southern part of Louisiana, whereby we have that new Mardi Gras route that connected up last August, proved really, really popular, connecting up across from Mobile across the southern coast of Mississippi. But once you get into New Orleans, we also have connectivity on those rail services by Amtrak, all the way north to Chicago, which will take you down America's musical channel, really sort of the birthplace of America's music. And indeed, you can carry all the way across over to California as well. So it will take you across through sort of obviously Texas, New Mexico, Arizona, and that kind of direction as well. So really great connectivity on there, and if you're so inclined, of course, all the way up to New York as well in the northeast of the state, northeast of the US. So really great connectivity. It's something certainly, particularly when we do the consumer shows in Ireland, we do get asked by a lot of people the ability to travel around the region without having to drive. That said, driving is fundamentally the best way to see more, experience more, see more, but rail is becoming increasingly popular and increasingly accessible as well. Of course, we're in the South, so we have to talk about the civil rights elements. Of course, a strong part of that story that we tell in Louisiana is far from the glorious part of the story or the uplifting part of the story. But nonetheless, it's important to know, it's important to understand, and it's important to understand where the civil rights movement started. So, of course, we deal with the slavery element, which is the plantations along the Mississippi River, how the emancipation of the slaves, those slaves went on to become free people of colour, and then indeed beyond that became what we referred to as sharecroppers. So there were people who had a vested interest in the productivity of those plantations and profited from that as such. So we do tell the worst part of the story, which is the initial slavery element, but we also tell some of that uplifting story where many of those slaves went on to become landowners and property owners themselves in their own right, and how that then feeds forward into their family for generations to come. Now, I mentioned Mardi Gras. It is probably, if I say to people, name me one thing about Louisiana, almost invariably Mardi Gras is the thing that gets mentioned. So Mardi Gras is literally translated as Fat Tuesday. Fat Tuesday being Shrove Tuesday, or it just marks the start of Lent and the countdown to Easter for many of us. What is, obviously, it's one day, but the thing that's really important to understand is that actually the Mardi Gras season starts from the 12th night, truly. So it starts building up on the 6th of January and will build all the way up until Mardi Gras Day, with the last 2 weeks preceding Mardi Gras being the busiest and the big, what we would refer to as the super crew parades. So this is where they have the bright, colourful floats that pass through the streets, the marching bands, the dancers, all the trinkets, all the gifts and things being given out. Now, the image that people are really kind of associated with Mardi Gras is that New Orleans image. But to say Mardi Gras is a celebration throughout the state of Louisiana. It's in every town, village, and part and corner of the state. In fact, we also extend all the way over, and in fact, Mobile in Alabama lay claim to the first ever Mardi Gras. So it is something that transcends Louisiana, but it really is synonymous within the state. That said, it's just to mention that Mardi Gras is a very specific experience. If you've got people that want to see and experience Mardi Gras, they have to go at that time of year. If you want to experience Louisiana, and particularly New Orleans, in their true form, you need to travel at some other time of year, because you can still experience those festivals. But Mardi Gras, we welcome many, many millions of visitors into the city over that period of time. So just the ability to move around and see the city in its true, in its true way becomes a little bit different and a little bit more challenging through Mardi Gras. I mentioned Mardi Gras being the thing that people believe they're most familiar with, but actually the film industry throughout Louisiana is something that has been front and center for many, many years, to the point where we were for many years and have for many years been referred to as Hollywood of the South. Films like Easy Rider, Green Mile, Live and Let Die, the famous scene at the beginning of Live and Let Die in New Orleans, Streetcar Named Desire, and even The Man There. See, we'll always find a link back to the King. So Elvis Presley, big fan of Louisiana and New Orleans, and the film King Creole was set there. More modern day, we're going to talk about 12 Years a Slave, Django Unchained, A Girls Trip, which is a very different story indeed. But probably my favourite on this whole list would be The Green Book, and it's the one I would implore people to watch. It talks about Louisiana in the South during segregation, and The Green Book was a publication that was issued to ethnic minorities travelling through southern US, and it told them where they were able to take safe lodging, safe accommodation, places to eat, drink, and sit and enjoy entertainment. So just a very different period of time through the region, and it gives a really good insight into that. Many settings and many filming locations within Louisiana there. So I'm going to take a whistle-stop tour through the state. Starting in the north, so we're up in the northwest, about 2.5 hours from Dallas-Fort Worth at this point. So this brings us into Shreveport-Bossier. It's known as Sportsman's Paradise. So really anything about being outdoors, hunting, canoeing, kayaking, fishing. You'll also see there, of course, we have large casinos because we are on the border with Texas. So those Texan millionaires like to come across and spend their hard-earned oil money in Louisiana, and we welcome them wholeheartedly. Again, I mentioned we'll find any link back to the King, and indeed Shreveport, the Municipal Auditorium, was the setting of Elvis Presley's first ever televised performance. So he was on the Louisiana Hayride, and it's also where one of the most famous sayings relating to Elvis was actually first coined, if you like. He was performing, he departed from the stage and left the auditorium. However, the compere for the evening could not get the audience to disperse. They were too crazed with their Elvis Presley love. So he came out on stage and he said, "Ladies and gentlemen, Elvis has left the building." And that therefore gives birth to the famous saying that then went on to become synonymous with him. As we travel south, we're going to come down directly south of Shreveport. We're in Toledo Bend, which is known as Lake Country. So this is just to show something that's a little bit different about Louisiana. People quite often think about the cities and the towns of the state, but this is to show you really kind of within an hour or so of many of the big cities, you can be immersed in nature. You can really get into the mix of it. You can see alligators and deer, and if you're really lucky, black bear. You can see all these different lizards and species of birds that migrate through Louisiana as well. So it's just a really nice opportunity, close to the city, seamlessly intertwined into a fly drive itinerary that you can get into nature, and stay in one of these cabins overlooking the water, and that's just a nice peaceful way to sort of break up the journey as you pass through the state. Now down into the southwest, and we're in Lake Charles. So Lake Charles is in what we would refer to the heel of the boot. It's about 2.5 hours from Houston at this point. So again, that flight connectivity does give us great options right throughout the state, whether you're flying and driving, whether you want to pair it up with Texas to the west or our deep south partners to the east. There really is no shortage of options as far as flying and driving are concerned. So Lake Charles, as the name suggests, it's on the water. This is where you start to really see the nature of Louisiana existing alongside human beings. So the Creole Nature Trail is a designated all-American road. It's a self-driven itinerary which will take you out into the wilds, the wetlands, and the waterways of Louisiana. So you can see alligators and deer and all the different species of flora and fauna in their natural habitat. And you just self-drive and you guide yourself around and then find your way back to Lake Charles. Again, because we're on the border with Texas, you will find a number of casinos here in Lake Charles. So again, really the casinos, we know people aren't coming to Louisiana for casinos, but it's just good to know that we have the level of accommodation is probably slightly higher because of these casinos and the money they generate. They do tend to offer a slightly higher level of lodging and accommodation that you might find in smaller towns. Moving seamlessly on. We then find our way into Baton Rouge. So Baton Rouge is the state capital of Louisiana. It's slightly north of New Orleans, and the reason that we're in Baton Rouge as the state capital is because it is slightly on higher ground, so it's not so prone to flooding. And for many years they went backwards and forwards, and then they finally decided that Baton Rouge should be the state capital. So because of that, it is the home of Louisiana State University and the very famous college football team of the LSU Tigers. Haven't been so successful in the last couple of years, but we have run a couple of the NCAA state championships in recent years. Generally provide some of the best quality NFL footballers that go into the draft and then end up at the professional teams. So the college football is it's a religion really once you're in Baton Rouge. And the one thing I would suggest to people do is if they can be there on a game day during season on Saturday, even if you're not into the sport itself, because it is a big commitment of time. It's 3 to 4 hours quite comfortably. But even if you don't do that, you should get to the game before it all starts, because they do this great thing called tailgating. And tailgate is a big party in the car park where everyone enjoys themselves, eats drinks, dances, has a good time, and then watches the game afterwards. So that's a real true taste of Americana that you would want to experience whilst you're in Baton Rouge. I mentioned earlier the plantation. So, of course, that is an intrinsic part of our history and our culture in Louisiana. We do talk in great detail about the good, the bad, and everything in between as well. So without these plantations, the United States of America probably truly wouldn't exist, because at one point, 95% of the wealth in America was along this Mississippi River. And these homes are kind of a snapshot in time of that. So 12 living, breathing museums that each tell a different part of the story. So it can be the initial slavery story. It can be the story of the Creole slave who was given a property in Louisiana by her master, but also she was his mistress. So some intrigue and some mystery and some dark stories as well, all the way up to the millionaire opulent sugar baron at Homer's House, which was owned by an Irish American and has always been owned by an Irish American even to this very day. It's got some of the most beautiful gardens and an amphitheatre, and it's right on the banks of the Mississippi River. So really, truly that archetypal opportunity to sit on your porch, on the rocking chair, listen to the crickets and have a cocktail or three, just to while the night away as well. So just a really nice way to bring you down from Baton Rouge towards New Orleans, where we will be heading next. So what we're looking at here, New Orleans, this is probably, if I could pick three stereotypical images of New Orleans that people see, and the real sort of eye-catching images. So the left-hand side is what we refer to as the streetcar. This is the Canal Street streetcar, which this is our public transport system in New Orleans. This is the best way to get around other than walking. So this is how locals get around. This is how people commute on a daily basis. We have the red cars, which you're looking at here. And we also have the green car, which is the more historic line. Best and main thing to note about the two of them, if you're going to ride the streetcar, the red ones are air conditioned. The green ones are the historic line, so they are not air conditioned. For me, the green line is the one you should take. It takes you down to City Park and some of the green spaces and some of the wider neighborhoods. But just if air conditioning is a consideration. Image in the middle is the St. Louis Cathedral. This is right in the heart of the French Quarter. So the French Quarter is really the buzzing epicenter of New Orleans. That's where most of the nightlife is. Lots of great restaurants and bars and museums. But also what you'll find here is the St. Louis Cathedral, as I mentioned. In spite of as we're told, the inspiration behind the designs for Walt Disney's Princess Castle, he visited the city of New Orleans and then had that castle designed. He was also a keen visitor to the city, and indeed inspired him to write The Princess and the Frog as well. So the nice thing about this is, as people come into any city, they feel, they might be a bit nervous about finding their bearings or finding their way. What you'll see there, the St. Louis Cathedral, is taller and it overlooks buildings all around it. It always has been and always will be the tallest building in the French Quarter. So as you move around, if you feel like you might be turned about or a little bit lost, if you can catch eyes of the St. Louis Cathedral, you can always find your way back to the centre of the French Quarter and therefore get your bearings. People might get lost for a variety of reasons. Street names are confusing, or maybe they've had a cocktail too along the way. So this is just a nice way of helping people to find their way home. And then, of course, the architecture of the French Quarter. Very typical ironwork that you'll find throughout the French Quarter and in some of the neighbouring areas. Very colourful, very decorative, always lots of flowers and plantings on these things. And you see the colours of the French Quarter. This is all protected by a historic society who effectively, just because you buy a building in the French Quarter doesn't mean you get to decide what colour it is. They will tell you what colour and how to decorate the outsides of that property. So just keeping some of that history, heritage and culture alive, making sure it's there for everyone to enjoy for years to come. So a really quick buzz over the map, because this just shows you how accessible the city is. So the pink area in the middle, which is the French Quarter I mentioned, right through the middle of that, you'll find Bourbon Street, and that is probably the busy hubbub city street within the city where everyone will gravitate towards. It's the flashing lights, it's the colourful cocktails. Everyone should visit it. Everyone should take their photos, but don't make this the sole part of your nightlife entertainment within the city. For me, where you want to get to is a street called Frenchman Street, which is in the Faubourg Marigny, which is off to the right-hand side there. That's where you'll find a more authentic, true experience of jazz music and what the locals will experience. So that's where I would suggest people go. I've done a good amount of research on bars and restaurants and some of the music venues as well. So yeah, I would highly recommend it. Off to the left-hand side, you've got the Central Business District in green, which takes you all the way up to the Louisiana Superdome, home of the New Orleans Saints. Then onto the yellow area, which is the Warehouse and Arts District, where you'll find the World War II National Museum. And then you end up carrying on along there into the Garden District, which is some of the sort of the historic homes. And those that would have had plantations on the Mississippi would have had their main house here in New Orleans. So again, some of that just to give you a little bit of a lay of the land and how you get around and how easy it is to get around. You'll see it's a grid system. It's a nice small grid system. It's not a New York 1 mile long grid block. A couple of minutes and you will have done another block in New Orleans. So very, very walkable and truly the best way to get around and see the city. We talked earlier about festivals. This is just to say, I mean, within New Orleans alone, we have over 100 festivals a year and we celebrate everything. But if we're going to talk about the other festivals, New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival continues to be one of the most popular festivals within the city, true to the authenticity of the city and its musical heritage and culture. So for me, if you just want to see a festival and experience that as opposed to seeing Mardi Gras, this is the festival to go to. It's in April and May, so the weather's starting to get even nicer and warmer, lends itself to being outdoors, and it runs across 2 weekends, so it gives a really nice opportunity to experience New Orleans music. Essence Festival, which is a festival dedicated to the Black and African American culture of New Orleans and Louisiana. Again, growing. It has many, many local artists, but also lots of international artists that come into the city to perform for this. And then NOLA by NOLA, which is more of your sort of festival as you might know it here in the UK with big name acts, DJs and all that kind of good stuff. Then, of course, Mardi Gras. So first of all, when we mention Mardi Gras, most people will associate it with New Orleans and the image of what Mardi Gras is in New Orleans. So that's what we're looking at here. Very colourful, lots of beads, the marching bands in the streets, the big, almost double-decker bus size floats, which will pass through the city and pass through the streets, throwing these gifts and trinkets out to the visitors on the street. So it's just a really nice gathering of people to get everyone together. The tradition of Mardi Gras is bringing friends and family together. It's not necessarily the things you might have seen on YouTube clips and things like that, where people in the French Quarter maybe get a little bit wilder than that. So Mardi Gras, like I say, if you want to experience Mardi Gras, of course, you have to come at this time of year. If you want to experience a festival in New Orleans style, come to one of the other festivals. Come to Jazz and Heritage Fest, come to French Quarter Fest, Satchmo Summer Fest. All great times to be there. Slightly less people, a little bit less expensive to get those hotel rooms, but nonetheless exciting and exhilarating as a festival. Now, food. We are a food city. There's no two ways about it. I would say for diversity and breadth of food styles and influences, you're not going to find a city that's got many more sort of influences that feed into it. But the strongest that you will find, certainly through New Orleans and southern Louisiana, is going to be those kind of Cajun and Creole influences. So rich, hearty, filling meals. We know what American portions are like anyway. They're big and they're you can be well fed. Multiply that by 3 when you get down here into Louisiana. You're going to have no choice but to take away that to-go box. But just some of the traditional foods there that are listed, the beignets. Top tip on those, obviously, deep fried donut batter with powdered sugar. Don't be wearing a black t-shirt when you eat one of those, because everyone will know it. Po' boy is a great, really affordable snack food as well. So just all the other foods there, try them all, get involved, get your hands dirty, and really make sure you taste the flavors. Drinks, we are the birthplace of the cocktail. So again, with every great meal, you have to have a cocktail. So the first ever cocktail was the one there in the middle, the Sazerac, which was created as a medicinal drink. But again, some of the other cocktails you see there as part of our history and our culture. And food with a cocktail, you're then probably going to move on to a night spot and enjoy some of our live music. So the birthplace of jazz music, 2 different kinds of jazz music. You're going to find that traditional kind of lounge jazz. Get on down to Frenchman Street in the Faubourg Marigny, and you'll find a much more up-tempo, drum-led, rhythmic beat of music, which is, they would say, it's designed to get you off your seat, out of your seat and onto your feet. It's just about dancing and moving and enjoying yourself. So really every kind of musical sort of venue is available, and every musical style as well. So even if jazz music isn't your thing, with blues, country, rap, hip hop, R&B, all of that good stuff, it can be found in the city of New Orleans. And it's a very accepting, welcoming city as well. So very welcoming to the LGBTQ community. We have festivals throughout the year, but everyone's welcome to attend and join every single festival. So that's just to say, to shatter some of those illusions that may be around some cities, across the South. We are very welcoming, very much a colourful city. And this is just to show you really quickly some of the experiences. Of course, we have the usual things like the museums, the art galleries, tons of restaurants, lots of bars. But those things that are a little bit more synonymous with us that people really should visit. Mardi Gras World, self-explanatory. It's a museum dedicated to Mardi Gras. Cemeteries, which link into the voodoo and black magic history and culture. So you can do some tours of those as well. The aquarium, the streetcars. Watching a game with the New Orleans Saints. New Orleans is our viewing deck. The World War II Museum. And then, of course, a cocktail museum, which is the Sazerac House. Totally free experience. As long as people are over 21, they can go there and they can enjoy some tasters of some fine Louisiana cocktails. And I'm running slightly over, so just to say, of course, cruise business is massive out of New Orleans as well. So a pre-cruise stay in New Orleans, post-cruise stay in New Orleans afterwards. We can do the river cruises as well, which tend to come down from Memphis all the way down to New Orleans with Viking or American. And then, of course, the usual cruise lines of Norwegian, Royal Caribbean, Disney, and Carnival that operate out and do some fantastic business for us. So that, with a sped up version at the end there, is New Orleans from me. So I will stop sharing my screen and allow someone else to talk for a few minutes.
Thanks, Neil. I think you really brought to life Louisiana and New Orleans, feeling a little bit hungry, even though I had lunch, but washed it down a cocktail or two. And now it's going a little bit north up to Oklahoma and Oklahoma City with Louisa. So over to you. Thank you.
Mute. Okay. Can you all see my screen? Okay. Hello?
I can anyway. Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us and for hearing more about Oklahoma City with us this afternoon. So let's dive in. Oklahoma City is the capital of Oklahoma and the largest city in the state. It's positioned in the south central United States, offering easy access to major highways. It's located on the southern plains, known for flat terrain and wide open spaces, and the city lies around the North Canadian River, which adds some scenic riverfront areas to it. Because of its central location, Oklahoma City is a transportation hub for air, road, and rail travel, with close proximity to major cities like Dallas, Kansas City, and Denver. The climate is quite pleasant during spring and summer. We've got temperatures ranging from 16 to 34 degrees Celsius during summer. Fall has got a little bit of rainfall, but very, very vibrant foliage and pleasant temperatures going up to 29 degrees. The winter season has vibrant foliage as well and has got fewer crowds and is cold, but mostly dry. How to get there? So you can fly with American Airlines, United Airlines, Delta, KLM, Virgin Atlantic to Will Rogers International Airport, and that's connecting via US cities such as Chicago or via European hubs such as Amsterdam. Once you're there, it's really easy to get around. Public transport is excellent. You've got intercity buses, trains, and it's a very compact and easy to navigate city. So, moving on to the iconic historic Route 66. So, Oklahoma City sits at the heart of Route 66. The longest drivable stretch of the Mother Road runs through Oklahoma, and Oklahoma City is a central anchor for travelers heading from east to west. Think about vintage neon signs, classic diners, museums, and new experiences that combine nostalgia with modern travel comforts. For visitors chasing the iconic American road trip, Oklahoma City is the perfect multi-night base. You can explore 30 miles of Route 66 within the metro area with short drive times between stops. And some of the highlights include the Milk Bottle Building, the Gold Dome, and neon murals along NW 23rd Street. So this is a map of the city, which you can see is very compact. It's a walkable city center with clustered cultural districts and nearby neighborhood pockets as well. And I'm going to show you some of the highlights and paint a picture of how Oklahoma offers visitors a blend of that urban energy and Western heritage as well. So first in line is this historic ferry wheel that has appeared as a backdrop in major films, adding Hollywood lore to Oklahoma City's visitor experience. Then our music scene is stamped with Carrie Underwood, who is a country music megastar and winner of American Idol. The downtown is home to the City Museum of Art, the Botanical Gardens, and the beautiful Sisotel Park. Then Bricktown Entertainment District, it's home to converted warehouses, which are now restaurants and bars. And visitors have also had the option to take a narrated guided water taxi tour along the canal, which passes through murals and monuments. So this is an ideal activity for your first-time visitors. We then have Deep Juice, which is booming with our jazz history and the evening dining scene as well. And we have the Stocky Words City, which is one of the world's largest working cattle markets, with shops selling boots and Western wear as well. In the Adventure District, you can head to Oklahoma City Zoo, the Botanical Gardens, the Science Museum, the Planetarium, and the iconic National Cowboy and Western Heritage Museum as well. At the Paseo District, this is one of the Oklahoma City's most creative and colorful neighborhoods, and it combines history, art, and a strong sense of local community as well. And the Asian District, it's a cultural diversity place. It's a mix of Vietnamese, Chinese, Thai, and other Asian influences. The district is booming with authentic markets and regional dining experiences for your visitors. Then the 39th Street District is the largest LGBTQ neighborhood in Oklahoma, with vibrant nightlife. And the Boathouse, which sits along the Oklahoma River just south of downtown, is a modern adventure park which has both high adrenaline activities but also relaxed outdoor experiences for your guests. Then we have the First American Museum, which opened in 2021, which is a state-of-the-art cultural attraction that tells powerful stories of Oklahoma's 39 tribal nations all in one place. It's important to highlight that this is the only museum in the US that is dedicated solely to the collective history and living cultures of these tribes. So, upcoming events, we are going to be one of the official satellite hosts for host cities for the softball and canoe in Los Angeles 2028 Olympics. and places to stay. We have a great choice of accommodation, which ranges from landmark iconic places, luxury properties, stylish boutique hotels, and so the city has a varied selection to suit all requirements, really. And last but not least, Chickasaw. We have Chickasaw Country, which is located in south central Oklahoma, where rich First American heritage meets striking natural beauty. It's rooted in the culture of the Chickasaw Nation, and the region offers authentic experiences from immersive cultural centers and storytelling traditions to vibrant art, cuisine, and hospitality shaped by centuries of history as well. So that is Oklahoma City in a very condensed presentation for you. If you have any questions, please feel free to pop them on the box. And I'm going to share some resources with you there, the travel trade link and the website, and also the website for Chickasaw Country. And I'm going to stop sharing now.
Thank you, Louisa. It's fascinating and be a great opportunity to understand all that First Nations history and culture that we don't get to experience here a lot. So thank you for that. And now it's a little bit further east and over to Savannah and Lucas. So if you can bring us through Savannah, that would be great. Thank you.
Hello, I'm just trying to see how I can share my screen. There we go. Nearly there. Right, perfect. Can you see that?
Should be coming through. There we go. Thanks.
Amazing. Well, welcome to Savannah. So, established in 1733, Savannah is exactly what travelers think of when they envision what a southern city looks like. You've got Spanish moss draping over from the trees over the city's 22 historic squares, top tier southern hospitality, of course, with some fantastic food out there. But then also a lot of different tours that dive deeper into the history, the city's history, culture, and amazing architecture. In terms of getting there, you can easily connect through Atlanta or JFK into the Savannah Hilton Head International Airport, which has been consistently voted as the best domestic airport in the US. But if you're on the road, it's kind of the perfect stop if you're traveling down the Atlantic on that Georgia and South Carolina border. And then you can take the horse and carriages or on the cobblestone streets or even hop onto one of the trolley tours to see the sights of the city. There's an abundance of historic homes you can see with architecture going all the way back to the 18th century. The Harper Fawkes House is definitely a favorite with many rooms of period furnishings, as well as the Owens Thomas House with its more Regency style architecture. The Owens Thomas House also features one of the most intact remaining slave quarters in America. So, as well as a lot of history about the Civil War, it's got a massive history with the liberation of the slaves back in that time. This house is the Mercer Williams house, which was prominently featured in the internationally best-selling book Midnight Garden of The Midnight in the Garden of Good and Evil, as the place where the famous murders took place. So the book became a famous feature with John Cusack and Kevin Spacey, and will be opening as a musical on Broadway very soon, actually. And you probably recognize this guy, of course, but another famous movie, Savannah, features in is Forrest Gump, as all the bench scenes in the film were filmed at Chippewa Square, and you can actually see the bench in a nearby Savannah Museum. They have a lot of other film stuff in there because they're known for hosting one of the most popular film festivals in the US each year. I know actors like Miles Teller absolutely love coming back to the city every year. So depending on when you go, you might get to see some good talent while you're out there. Um, and in addition to the amazing architecture and historic homes, there are two major forts. So this one is Old Fort Jackson, which was constructed in 1812 to protect the city of Savannah from an attack from the sea. And then, depending on when you visit, they do cannon firings twice daily. So, if you're into your war, Civil War, they've got a lot of tours around the forts and the city telling you about um, exactly what went on. Because, for someone young and not really, um, I can't say educated about the Civil War, it blew my mind of, what actually happened on the ground beneath you. So, always something interesting there. And then there's also many spectacular churches in the city. This one is the Cathedral Basilica of St. John the Baptist, which is actually also known as the Sistine of the South, with its fantastic structure. And you'll also recognize the church, the opening scene of Forrest Gump had with the feather flying down as well. So yeah, that's a top photo opportunity there. Um, and then the interior of St. John the Baptist Church is filled with some incredible stained glass, tall marble columns, and 34 exquisite murals. Nearby is the First African Baptist Church, which is the home of the oldest black congregation in America. It was built entirely by enslaved men and women at night after working all day in the nearby fields and plantations. It was also a stop on the notorious Underground Railroad during the Civil War. So, cool bit of history there as well. And then along with those, there's lots of other unique attractions to visit. One of the most popular ones is the American Prohibition Museum. It's the only one of its kind in the country and chronicles the era that had such an impact on the nation and Savannah. That also led to the rise of gangsters, moonshine, and speakeasies. There's a little surprise at the end of the museum. I won't give it away because I've got some funny stories from there. But yeah, there's a nice little speakeasy at the end of it. You can enjoy, which is yeah, I won't spoil the surprise. Um, and then Savannah's newest attraction transports visitors to the world of gritty tales, hidden riches, and history full of adventure. The Savannah Pirates and Treasure Museum is a must visit for fans of the high seas. Speaking of popular attractions, you can't forget it's still pretty much still looks very new, but the Savannah Plant Riverside District, which was once a power plant on the riverfront. It features 12 restaurants, six outdoor food pavilions with live entertainment outside as well each night, and an outdoor dancing fountain, which is pretty cool, and an amphitheater with that live music throughout the year. If you haven't gathered by now, Savannah is extremely walkable. So with the 22 of its original 24 squares still there, which are basically small parks with statues, fountains, benches that are every few blocks from throughout the historic district. It's you know, it's easy to get your steps in while you're out there and find a lot about the city and the area while you're there too. And without shadow of a doubt, being in the South, whether you're taking the trolley, Segway, bike or foot, you're sure to work up an appetite with all those steps because luckily the food scene in Savannah has really come to life in the past few years, with restaurants offering everything from fresh seafood to barbecue. And Leopold's ice cream is actually ranked one of the number one ice cream spots in the world, which Miles Teller loves a lot if you look at his Instagram. But yeah, there's anything you would want one of my favorites is the Pink House. Incredible property, classic Southern food, and yeah, that's Luca's recommendation from for you guys there. But then there's Mrs. Wilkes. So if you don't know it, it's a Savannah favorite. They've had presidents, celebrities there, with all the photos in the year dating since they opened. But it's all family style. You're sitting with people you would have never thought you'd speak with, and it's just bowls of incredible Southern food you pass around the table. And yeah, I don't think I've ever had fried chicken that matches that. And I don't think I will, to be honest. So yeah, get in the queue as early as possible because there's no bookings. It's all cash, nice old classic family style Southern dining. And Savannah doesn't just have great food; it has amazing cocktails, which you can drink on the streets of the historic city. So you can just go pub to pub, drink it, having drinks all day and night. Because again, that's where the prohibition comes in, because it was one of the first places in the US that allowed drinking in public. If you want to learn how to make more delightful drinks, Savannah's newest restaurant and bar is the Old Savannah Distillery. You can do cocktail classes that run throughout the day, or just have a little taste of their private labeled whiskey, vodka, moonshine, whatever you fancy. They've even got a few funny stories of when the president came to town and they invented this crazy drink, and let's just say the president didn't make the evening event after trying that. Um, but if you want a better view of the beautiful city and the Savannah River, you won't find a better spot for a cocktail and an appetizer than at one of the many rooftop bars we have. With all year round mild climate, you'll find a perfect place to wind down for the day. Savannah itself sits right on the river, and River Street is one of our main shopping and entertainment areas. You'll find over 100 former cotton warehouses that are now shops, restaurants, and pubs, all lined with original cobblestone streets. It's a great place to browse the stores and find the perfect Savannah souvenir. And as the sun sets, you'll find Savannah Hills as America's most haunted city. I know a lot of people claim it is, you know, if you believe it, fair enough. But I can tell you that Savannah has some extremely convincing tours. So throughout the night, you can even go on a hearse and do one of the tours sitting in a hearse, and yeah, hopefully you get to live to tell everyone about it. At night time is also when Savannah transitions from historic to hip, with a wide range of live entertainment and music venues throughout the city. The Savannah Theatre is the oldest continuously operated theatre in America and features nightly Broadway style productions. There's also Savannah Riverboat cruise tours. The waterways by day offer fabulous entertainment at night, including live Southern gospel music on Monday evenings. But on the subject of the river, Savannah has the third largest port in the US, so there are also some cool port tours. See, what they produce in the area, and if you're an infrastructure nerd like me, you'll be interested in the construction of the bridge that allows these massive ships to pass throughout the day. But as we wrap up, I have to say, no visit to Savannah is complete without a short 20-minute drive down to Tybee. It's a small little beach community that sits on the Atlantic with quite an artistic feel. Your travelers will want to pay a visit to Tybee Lighthouse, the third oldest on the East Coast. The marshes, wetlands that surround Savannah are truly amazing. So while it's important to visit these historic sites, um, it's just as important to go visit Tybee and go relax for a day or two if you fancy. And you don't want to miss the nearby nature scene with the Moon River district of Savannah, which features this gorgeous canopy of trees that warms those historic sites. So, uh, oh, this one's perfect for your Instagram post if you need a front image. But yeah, we invite you guys all to come to Savannah soon. And yeah, hopefully you can fall in love with this beautiful city just like I have. So thanks for your time, and I'm sure Tony will be able to share my contact details with you all after this. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Luca. Certainly was a great presentation to showcase all the best Savannah has from its historic centre out to the coast. So it looks absolutely lovely. Now we're going up to Louisville and Zoe Ward. So Zoe, please take it away with Louisville. Thank you.
Can you hear me? Sorry.
Yeah,
I lost you guys for a second. Okay,
all
great.
good.
Let me get into present mode and then we'll get this rolling. Can you guys see that?
Yes, we can.
No, perfect.
Great.
Okay,
Thank
amazing. So I'm Zoe, I represent Louisville. I am the UK representative over here, as well as Ireland, despite my American accent, but I've been to Louisville and know it very well. So hopefully after this presentation, you'll be inspired to come. So unfortunately, we do not have direct flights from Ireland to Louisville. However, you can get to New York, Chicago, or Atlanta and then take a 2.5 hour flight to Louisville. Alternatively, you can fly into Nashville and then drive to Louisville, combining some of the other destinations that were previous to mine in this webinar, or go over to Lexington, Cincinnati, Indianapolis. We sit at the top of the southern states and kind of the entryway into the Midwest and or the East Coast. As for events, we're probably most well known for the Kentucky Derby. This happens every first Saturday of May. It consists of hundreds of thousands of people descending on the city, big hats, a lot of fun affair. Prior to the actual Derby itself, the city is flooded with different events, starting with Thunder over Louisville, which is one of America's largest fireworks shows. And then as we progress closer to the Derby, there's various events from marathons to hot air balloon festivals, really kind of gearing up to the Kentucky Derby. Of course, if you have clients who are unable to make it to the Derby, you can visit Churchill Downs all year round through a visit to the Kentucky Derby Museum. It goes through the whole history of the horse races. It teaches you how to vet. It goes through the history of the jockeys and the owners and the trainers. So it's a great entry point into horse racing if you're not familiar. But then, of course, outside of the Derby, horse racing happens at Churchill Downs between April and June, and then as well as September and November. So there's plenty of time to experience horse racing in Louisville outside of Derby. The Derby happens in the spring, but in the fall is really when our music calendar really picks up. So Kentucky is known for producing 95% of the world's bourbon. Louisville itself is known as Bourbon City. Bourbon and Beyond, which is one of our most iconic music festivals, combines both bourbon and music into one festival. So it has a number of chefs demonstrations and bourbon tastings, along with some really big names in music. And then prior to that, this year, so you have Bourbon Beyond, and then the weekend before, we've got Louder Than Life, which is America's largest rock festival. So if you have clients that are interested in that genre of music, definitely mention Louder Than Life. As for neighborhoods, similar to a lot of the destinations, we are very walkable. I'll go through some of these different neighborhoods, but Louisville itself, you can get around within 10, 15 minutes through the various different neighborhoods or in the core downtown area, and then a short Uber ride away, that'll cost you less than £10 into New Loot and Butchertown. Starting with Whiskey Row, as I said, bourbon is the heart of our city. It is the blood in our veins. Whiskey Row is probably the most condensed area for our distilleries, bottle shops, cocktail bars, etc. We would really recommend starting at Urban Williams Bourbon Experience, which was the first distillery back after the Prohibition. But of course, you can make your way through all of these kind of bopping throughout. And then throughout each of the distilleries, if you need a break or if bourbon is not your thing, we also have Museum Row. So the Fraser Museum goes through the history of Kentucky. It's also the start of the Kentucky Bourbon Trail. So if you are making your way through all of Kentucky, this is a great place to start. But it also has rotating exhibits like Love and Marriage, which goes through different wedding traditions of the South and the different styles and how they've progressed over the years. Our most famous native son is Muhammad Ali. This Muhammad Ali Center is a 5-floor museum, which really goes through the life of Muhammad Ali and his contributions to the civil rights movement. So it goes from Cassius Clay to Muhammad Ali, float like a butterfly, sting like a bee, but you can box with him or through an interactive exhibit or test your speed for punching. So it's a great exhibit for families or group travelers alike. And then moving on to the Slugger Museum, at one point the Slugger factory built all of the baseball bats used in the MLB. Today, you can tour the factory as well as hold a number of the baseball bats, some by some of the famous players, so you can test out and pick which ones whose style you like best. A key thing to the Slugger Museum is that walking out, everybody gets a mini Slugger, so it saves you kind of buying an extra souvenir, and it's just a fun element after you've gone through the tour and really understand the craftsmanship behind the baseball bats. Newland and Butchertown, the last two neighborhoods that I'll mention, they're both are up and coming areas, so a lot of locally owned shops, a lot of immigrant chefs have moved in and become Michelin rated or James Beard awarded. So it's a really great area to kind of pop into after you've hit the downtown. Butchertown is more of a mix of industrial and residential. If you're not a fan of bourbon, it's known for its breweries. I think that at this point we've probably got more breweries than distilleries, but as I said, it's an option for everyone. One thing that I do want to point out in the New Lou neighborhood is that Bob Dylan just opened a new bourbon bar. It's known as the High Church of Bourbon, but its official name is the Last Refuge. You walk in, it's 1,500 bottles of bourbon are surrounding you in a church. It feels similar to the Fairy Godmother's factory in Shrek 2. So it is a unique experience and one that we would really recommend everybody to visit. As for hotels, Louisville is really known for its boutique hotels. I'll go through two of our most famous quickly. The Seelbach Hilton was known to inspire the Great Gatsby. He was known to hang out at the Seelbach Hotel during World War I. Tam and Daisy's wedding are set in Louisville, and he's known, Great Gatsby. Gatsby, or Jay Gatsby, was inspired by the bootleggers and the gangsters who he would meet when he was hanging out in the speakeasy of the hotel, which you can still visit and have a drink in. The other iconic hotel is the Brown Hotel. This year, the Hot Brown Sandwich, which is a turkey, bacon, cheesy tomato delight. It's pictured here on the screen. That's turning 100 this year. A chef at the Brown Hotel created the recipe and the sandwich as kind of an elevated post-ballroom snack or meal. So it's a good thing to eat after you've had a few bourbons or old fashions in you. Outside of those two hotels, just to quickly point out, the Myriad Hotel is a really unique hotel in Paristown. At one point, Louisville created all the disco balls in the world. The Myriad Hotel is an old disco ball factory and has a number of shout outs to its history. So it's a fun one. Hotel Bourbon is one of our newest properties. It's got a rooftop pool, a really swanky bar, and its bottom is right in the heart of downtown, so you'll be well located. And then last, the 21C Museum Hotel. It is one of the first museum hotels out in the world. So it's got a gallery underneath. You can visit the gallery whether you're staying there or not, but if you have clients who are particularly interested in art, that is a good shout. It's also celebrating its 20th anniversary this year. But just to wrap up, these are our contact. Oh, well, maybe I didn't include it in these slides, but Tony can share our contact details, and we hope that inspired you to come visit us in Louisville.
Thank you, Zoe. I mean, who doesn't want a a disco ball and some bourbon and breweries. I mean, sounds fabulous, and racing, boxing, and baseball thrown in as well. So thank you for that. And now it's over to Kate, who will bring us through the Delta Airlines experience of getting us to all of these wonderful places. So, Kate, if you're there, please share away. Thanks. Might be having some technical glitches there.
Blana, I see Kate is online as a panelist, but yeah, I don't know. Maybe she got tied up with something. So maybe we just give her maybe 30 seconds and see.
Yeah.
I'll send her a message in the meantime.
Perfect. Well, just while while we're doing that, just to sum up those fantastic destinations. So as I said, disco balls, bourbon, breweries, baseball, boxing, and of course racing in Louisville, to the historic charm and also modern vibrancy of Savannah. So sipping those cocktails, watching the sunset on the coast, right over to the sunsets along the Mississippi, and that southern hospitality, cuisine for all foodies into Louisiana and Mississippi, Tupelo, and then the experience of like true Americana and a taste of Western culture, right from First Nations to Western culture in Oklahoma. So great diversity there we were brought through today. So thanks to everyone. And I think Kate.
I'm here. I had
Yay! Hi, Kate.
I'm so sorry.
That's okay. Not to worry.
So yes,
take it away.
Brilliant. I'm just going to share my screen. Seconds. Oh, Teams doesn't love me. I mean, Zoom doesn't love me. It's not letting me share my screen.
Do you have it ready to go there, Tony? We can.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
Kate,
thank
I'll
you.
bring it up, and you just tell me when you want to change slides, okay?
Yeah, this is why it's good to always send it back up. Brilliant. Perfect. Thank you so much. So you've heard all about these great destinations. So now you need a great way to get there. And that's where Delta comes in. So from Dublin and Shannon, Delta offers seamless access to the south of the US. So we connect through Atlanta, which is our largest hub, and New York, depending on your routing. Atlanta really is key here. So it's our gateway to the south. So it makes it really easy to connect onwards to destinations that we've heard about today. And then Tony, if you just go to the next slide, just a map there of the destinations that we serve, and then our frequency from Dublin and Shannon as well. So we're well covered for your customers to travel into the US and onwards to the amazing places that you've heard about today. So why Delta for the south? So when you're selling, it's not just about the destination, it's really about the journey as well. So for Delta, we offer smooth and efficient connections via Atlanta. We have really strong schedule, and we have a premium onboard experience across all of our cabins. So all of our customers arrive ready to enjoy the destinations that you've heard about. So just a bit about our experience on board. So wherever our customers sit, they'll enjoy our Delta Studio entertainment. So we've invested a lot of money in our technology. So yeah, lots of movies and TV series to watch. And then complimentary meals, snacks and drinks on all of our transatlantic flights, including alcohol and a comfortable, consistent experience. In terms of breaking that down by the cabin, so we have a few cabins available on Delta across our network. So we have Delta One Suites, which is our top end luxury. So perfect for our premium travelers heading to the south in style. So private suites with sliding doors, fully flat beds with heavenly bedding, restaurant quality dining and premium drinks, and lounge access and dedicated onboard service. We then have our Delta Premium Select service, so a real upgrade there. So a great upsell for some of our long haul flights. So wider seats, more leg room, more recline, foot and leg rest included, premium meals, enhanced service, amenity kit, and larger screens. And then Delta Comfort Plus. So this is a really popular choice for our customers. So extra leg room and an improved recline on our seats, priority boarding, dedicated overhead space, complimentary drinks and premium snacks. So just an upgrade from economy just to start off your amazing holiday. And then our main cabin, so everything you'd expect from economy. So a really strong offer there. So free meals and drinks, as I mentioned before. Seat selection in advance, no cost for that. Full entertainment access and flexibility within the seat that you buy as well. So so it's great cabins that we offer on board and a really great experience for our customers to start off their holidays in style. And then the next slide, please, Tony. And then this has just come to the market in the past year. So this is great for our customers traveling via Atlanta. So Atlanta really is the key to unlocking the deep south. So from Ireland, our customers arrive directly into, when they're going to Atlanta, they arrive directly into our Delta's largest hub. We've got a huge range of onward connections, short connection times and easy transfers. Now we have that you don't have to collect your bags when you get to Atlanta. So beforehand, you had to always collect your bag at your first port of entry. Now you don't have to do that going by Atlanta. It goes through a separate screening process and then goes straight to your onward destination. So no hanging around for bags and having your bags rechecked. So that's a great option for our customers now, that you can just save time there and just make the journey a little bit more relaxed. So yeah, it keeps it seamless and well connected. Sorry, next slide, please, Tony. And then free Wi-Fi. So we are the first US carrier to offer free Wi-Fi on all of our flights. So, and that's on everything. Everything has been done transatlantic. I've used it multiple times and it's really quick. So much so you can like download TV series on it. And yeah, it's just super. It's just a great offer that we have there. So really does make it easy for people to stay connected and to make the time go past on their flights. And then next slide, please. So just to a little bit more about Delta and why we're such a good carrier. We have really strong on-time performance. We have consistency across our journeys, and we have a real focus on operational excellence. So we really want to make sure that we're getting our customers to where they need to be on time and with their bags. So you can see from this slide here, just we really pride ourselves on lower cancellations and really good on-time performance, just to, again, just make your vacation just, a lot smoother and no problems for something that's supposed to be an enjoyable experience. And then next slide, please. So we have the Delta Pro website. So the link's there and there's a QR code on the next slide. So we just have everything on there that gives you all of Delta's information. If we ever have any issues like weather, etc., then all of our policies are on there. We have all of our product information on there. So anything you need, you can find it on our Travel Pro website. So that's the one-stop shop for everything Delta. So just sign up to that, and then you'll also get our updates as well, just so you can hear what's happening in the market. So, and that's Delta.
Thanks, Kate. It's always a great experience on Delta. So thank you for that. Great connectivity as you brought us through, supports for our agents, and then also a really great and easy to use app when you're a customer flying. So thank you all for that. I think that's us to wrap up. I don't know if Tony wants to have a quick word. Thank you everyone for bearing with us and joining us. These are great webinars. We're delighted to be able to bring them to you on behalf of the committee. I would just like to remind you about our fantastic 250 celebration barbecue on the 8th of July in Nolita in Dublin. There's going to be great prizes. We always put on a good fun night. So please come in and join us, have some cool beers, and hopefully win some great prizes, all courtesy of another airline, which is not Delta, so sorry about that. But lots of prizes to be won. So please come and join us, and we look forward to seeing you all there. So Tony, over to you if you want to say a couple of words.
Yeah, no, just to say again, just thank you very much to everyone for joining, and yeah, we look forward to seeing everybody at our America 250 barbecue. It's going to be a great feel-good event, so we'll see you there.
Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you very much.